This is a short bite episode of Homeschool Together. Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together Short Bite Edition. Today we're going to talk about Carcassonne. And
It's a classic. It's the game that started it all.
It did. It was
our first game when we were dating.
It was like our first date. Ariel, take the people back.
We're not going to do
Take
this.
Take them back. Where was our first date? They want to know these. This is
the real one or the official one?
The official one. No, not the official one. What was our real one? It was Denny's.
Denny's.
Yeah.
Our official one was a very nice Italian restaurant.
Yeah, forget about that. It was Denny's. Denny's is the endearing memory.
We were in college, y'all.
It was Denny's followed up by 7-Eleven parking lot.
No. It was 7-Eleven first and then Denny's.
Where we ran into my sister.
Right.
Who then
1 a.m. I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. We were in college. We were in college.
So anyway, our first date is as romantic as us first time playing Carcassonne.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't remember where we had heard about it. It's been 16 years now, so I don't remember. But I remember when we moved in together, this was like the first game that we went and bought that we were like, wow. This is super cool.
Well, it's something like unlike anything we'd ever played before.
It was. My family is always very into board games. Growing up, we had a lot of Monopoly and Scrabble and those kind of games.
This is back when you needed a .edu email address just to get it onto Facebook.
Right. Yeah. This was a long time back, and yeah. So it's interesting. We saw this and we picked it up because it was one of the early German board games that had made the hop across the pond here to us, and it's amazing as our very first game, the gateway game that got us into all the rest of it. It was our first one, and it still remains really a favorite of ours. And now we get to play it with our daughter, and it's a great game schooling game too, which is just like double bonus. So we thought we would talk about it on the short bite today.
Absolutely, yeah. So let's talk. So it's a tile-based game. It's a tile flipping-based game. So you basically have a whole massive array of tiles, and you have a starting either segment or a piece. I know we have the river edition where we actually start the river.
Right, and it actually comes with the river now. So
you assemble the river and then you build the river.
So yeah, on every turn, it's all medieval. So there's a city in southern France called Carcassonne. It still has a medieval fortress. And someday we are going there and we're going to play Carcassonne just like we played Alhambra next to the Alhambra.
We did. We have pictures of us playing the Alhambra at the Alhambra.
Right. So we're going to do it someday, y'all. I'm telling you now. But
homeschool together on the road.
Yeah, Carcassonne at Carcassonne. Well, we are this nerdy. This is you're in this. This is this nerdy. So it's a medieval game. Basically, on every tile, there's going to be a bit of a landscape. So it might be just a bit of grass. It might be a road. It could be a town, a piece of a medieval town, or it could be an abbey. So each one of them has some different rules, but basically there's matching involved. So when you pick up this tile, you have to place it somewhere on the board that it could legally go, that it matches the pieces around it. And then secondly, you have to make a decision. You have I think 7 maybe or 8 little meeples, little wooden people that you can place on the tile that you just lay down. And those people could be, you could either claim a city or claim a road or an abbey or farm open field. Yeah,
and based on what you play, it determines what they are. Are they a farmer? Was it a robber on the road?
On the road, there's different things, and based on what you play, you have a potential to score a certain number of points. When you play, most often, unless there's tiles all the way around it, you won't know exactly how many points you will get for it because it's the start. Maybe it's the start of a road or the start of a city. You're not sure how big it's going to get. So there's some mental calculation where you're trying to figure out if it's worth it. You only have so many guys that you can play.
You got to do a little bit of economizing on the people.
People.
And some people that you'll play will be there for the entire game, like farmers. But then there's ways to recover your meeples by closing off roads or closing off cities where you can then claim the points.
Yeah, or abbeys.
You get or the cloister, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get your meeple back, which you can then play again.
Right. So depending on, do you put your guy down or not? So just in the mechanics as far as a child is concerned, when we play with our 5-year-old, she's picking up a tile. She's got to match it around. And then we're just starting to do some simple scoring addition with her. Like, okay, if you play your guy here, you don't have very much potential for points. Whereas if you play him over here, you might be able to get more. It's a super simple game, but it involves some probability as well. There's only a certain number of tiles in the game and of certain configuration. So if you're waiting for this one specific tile and there's only 2 of them in the game, that might not come up for you, right? So, so there's some probability, there's color matching, there's addition. It's got a lot of great elements. It's very easy to play, but there's endless strategy with it. Trying to figure out, what's best to play and where's best to use your people and things. So our 5-year-old can totally play it and enjoy it, and we as adults enjoy playing it. And that's multi-generational games are just the best. It's got a great theme, nice thick cardboard tiles that have held up 16 years of us playing it.
Well, and 2 children.
Two children. So really great. It used to be a Rio Grande game. We owned it back. We bought it back when it was Rio Grande. Now it's Z-Man Games, which is also the company that puts out Pandemic, the game, not the actual Pandemic.
Well, we don't know.
No. So that's one we might recommend on a future episode when we're not actually living in a pandemic, because that just seems callous. Yes. But a good game nonetheless. So anyways, Carcassonne, it's great. It's a classic. It's easy to play. It's got some good addition. Great matching skills. And
they we have the regular Carcassonne edition. There are expansions as well.
Oh yeah, there's tons of them.
And then I believe they have a children's edition, but we don't own the children's edition yet.
We don't have my first Carcassonne. We really felt that we were able to modify the rules well enough with the regular. So initially when we would play, we wouldn't play for scoring. We would just play to make a large, map basically, and just work on her matching skills and her tile laying skills. And then eventually we started some very simple scoring mechanics with it. And now she's at the level where we can play a little bit more, but it's great. There's also so extra ways to score little bits of extra shields and different ways to score extra points and things. And it's been great. It's just one of those games that I feel everybody should have in their collection.
Yeah, and you can get it pretty much at every store now, and like Walmart and Target.
Yeah, it's very mainstream.
Very mainstream, and you get a pretty cheap copy, and they're always on sale on Amazon too. So absolutely, definitely want to put in there. And I also use the tiles as kind of like manipulatives as well. I remember doing that a long time ago. Just the act of drawing tiles, and whenever you do little type of matching games and things of that nature, choose one that has a road, choose one that has a city, and then give them all the city tiles, and they can assemble their own little cities. And there's endless amount of like play involved into it, and because it has such a simple dynamic. We have a few other games that are kind of those tile based games, but this type of game is, I think, just it's a wholesome game, great family game. It has a lot of longevity. Definitely play this with grandparents.
Yeah, it's a solid pick. One note that we would make, this is one of those games where, somebody's going to draw a tile and they're going to think about where they want to put it, which means that there could be a time, for those people that like to really take their time. We love to take all the tiles and put them in a bag. And so what we have is as soon as your turn is over, you draw a new tile from the bag that you keep secret, and then you pass the bag on, so that everybody basically has one whole round to think about where they're going to put that tile. That's not in the official rules. I don't know. It's not in our older official rules. Maybe they've changed it.
Yeah,
but
we're big fans of flow. We want to keep the game flowing, especially if you are playing with people who tend to do the agonizing thing. That is a great way to kind of alleviate that. We've talked about other games before where we like the idea where everybody's playing every single time, like Space Base or something.
Seven Wonders.
Seven Wonders is another good example of that, where everybody's playing on every single turn, and that can really keep the game fun and you don't get the lulls in the game, especially if you're playing with 4 people or multiple people. It can tend to really bog down. So I agree with you. Implementing that type of draw, play, draw again, and then you get a little bit of time to think about it. Plus, you also get to think about it in terms of what you think other people are going to do. So as they lay those down, that might change a little bit of your dynamic and your strategy. But it allows you to, move the game along at a quicker pace. So definitely head out there, find a copy of Carcassonne. It's absolutely,
it's a classic. I think we'll probably own this game forever. Yeah, it's one of those games.
Even if you're not really necessarily a game schooling, you're into that. I think Carcassonne is one of those things that it needs to be on everybody's shelf because it is such a great game. It's so dynamic. If you own a box of Candyland and Monopoly, there's no reason why you shouldn't have a copy of Carcassonne there too.
Yeah, you don't have to be a gamer to play this game. We've played it with grandparents, with young children, with people who've come over and have said, I don't really board game, I'm not into those really complex games. This is just, it works for all levels.
All levels and all experiences. Like, it's a very social game. It's not very heavy on the mental calculation.
No, not at all.
You can easily sit back with a beer or a glass of wine and chat.
I think it's a requisite.
It's a prerequisite. It is a medieval time. I mean, the only thing you're missing is like a mead and maybe some mutton stew or something like that.
It's good too. It plays 2 to 5 player. It's hard sometimes to find 5-player games, so that's another good strike for it.
Exactly.
2 to 5 player takes about 30 to 40 minutes maybe to play around. It's not too long. Depends really how long it takes you to make your decisions. And like we said, I think you could solidly play this with maybe ages 6 and up. But we obviously do have played it with our 4 and now 5-year-old with a little bit of modification. So it's definitely a solid choice. Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time,
happy homeschooling!
So I have a song that I was singing, and I was thinking I might add it to our YouTube channel, like the daddy sing-alongs. What was it? You have your chin, and your shoulder, and your thigh, and I'm a queen.
No wonder she was talking to me about thighs and chins today. I was like, what is going on?
Those are the super secrets of the homeschool room. Super secret. That's like not even blooper worthy. This is like Patreon level worthy stuff. Join our Patreon that doesn't exist.